Chapter 4 Introduction to HTML5 and CSS. Sam, what is CSS? The process of changing the design of large websites is tedious and expensive. To solve this problem, CSS cascading style sheets was developed by W3C, World Wide Web Consortium. What is the use of CSS? The CSS handles the appearance of a web page. Using CSS, you can control the color of the text, the style of fonts, the spacing between paragraphs, how columns are sized and layout, and more. Can you tell me how you can implement CSS? Let's learn about CSS in the chapter. But first, let us understand what is HTML and its components. Tech goals. HTML and its features. Creating and viewing. HTML documents. HTML tags. HTML structure. Disadvantages of CSS. Need of CSS. Cascading style sheets. Using CSS. Types of CSS. CSS selectors. CSS properties. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It was developed in the year 1993 by scientist Tim Berners-Lee. HTML is mainly used to create web pages that are displayed on the World Wide Web. Each page contains a series of connections to other pages called hyperlinks. The term hypertext refers to text that can be linked to other web pages, and the markup language is a language which uses tags to specify the style of a text to be displayed on a web page. HTML5 has been specially designed to create rich multimedia content without requiring additional plugins. HTML5 can be used to provide everything from animations to graphics and music to movies. It also enables building complex web applications that are capable of interacting with users and their local data, and also serves much more easily and effectively than was possible with the previous versions. HTML5 is also supported on multiple platforms. It is designed to work on a PC, tablet, smartphone, or smart TV. Features of HTML5. Some of the features of HTML are: HTML documents are simple text files. HTML is not a case-sensitive language. HTML documents can be viewed on any type of web browser. HTML has many tags to make a web page, so it is a tag-based language. HTML helps you embedded video and audio, high-quality drawings, charts, and animations. Creating and saving an HTML document using text editor. You can create an HTML document using an HTML editor or any text editor. HTML editors: Adobe Dreamweaver, Ultra Edit, TextMate, etc. Text editors: Notepad, Notepad++, etc. Here, we will create our HTML codes using Notepad. To open the Notepad program, do the following. Click on Start Windows Accessories, Notepad. The Notepad window will appear. In the Notepad window, do the following. Step 1. Click on the File menu and choose the New option to create a new document. Step 2. Type the text in the HTML document as shown. Step 3. Click on the File menu and choose the Save As option to save your document. Step 4. The Save As dialog box will appear. More to know. Always save an HTML file with the extension .html. Step 5. In the Save In the field, choose the location where you want to save the document. Step 6. Type the file name in the file name box with the extension .htm or .html. For example, my first HTML doc.html. Step 7. Click on the Save button. Notepad saves your file as an HTML document. Viewing an HTML document. You can view the output of an HTML document using any of the following web browser. After creating and saving an HTML document, you can view it by double-clicking on HTML document, or you can perform the following steps to view your HTML document in Microsoft Edge. Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Microsoft Edge. 1. Open Microsoft Edge by clicking on its icon on the desktop or the taskbar. The Microsoft Edge window appears. 2. Press the Ctrl+O keys. 3. The Open dialog box will appear. 4. Browse to the location of saved HTML document which you want to open. 5. Click on the Open button. 6. Microsoft Edge will display the web page you had created using the Notepad program. HTML tags. Tags are elements that are used to specify the structure of an HTML document. HTML tags begin with the less than character and end with greater than symbols, which are called angular brackets. In HTML, most tags have an opening and a closing tag. For example, less than HTML greater than is the opening tag and less than /HTML greater than is the closing tag. The tags which have both opening and ending tags are called container tags. The tags which have only an opening tag are called empty tags. Structure of an HTML document. The HTML documents are text files created using a text editor or HTML editor. To write an HTML document, a special structure is followed. The entire web page is enclosed within less than HTML greater than, less than /HTML greater than tags. The general format of HTML document is as follows: less than HTML greater than, less than head greater than, less than title greater than, title of the page, less than /title greater than, less than /head greater than, less than body greater than. More to know. Every HTML document is an ordinary text file. Main contents of the web page: less than /body greater than, less than /HTML greater than, less than HTML greater than tag. All HTML pages are contained within the less than HTML greater than and less than /HTML greater than tags. Less than head greater than tag. It is used to define the header section of the web page. Less than title greater than tag. It is used to define the document title. Less than body greater than tag. It contains the main contents of the web page. Disadvantages of HTML. HTML can create only static and plain pages. So, if we need dynamic pages, then HTML is not useful. You need to write a lot of code for making a simple web page. You cannot change the design of web pages easily. The CSS handles the look and feels part of a web page. Using CSS, you can control the color of the text, the style of fonts, the spacing between paragraphs, how columns are sized and laid out, etc. Cascading Style Sheets (CSS). CSS is used to style HTML pages. It is used to specify how HTML elements are displayed. It helps in the formatting of web pages, such as colors, layout, background, borders, fonts, and so on. It is used to store all formatting of a web page in a separate CSS file. When the CSS statement is read by a browser, it formats the HTML element in the document according to the styles defined in the CSS file. The HTML file then just needs to be linked to the required CSS file to apply the formats defined therein. TechScoop CSS Cascading Style Sheets was developed by W3C, World Wide Web Consortium. W3C is the main organization responsible for setting the international standards for the WWW. Features of CSS. The separation of CSS from HTML makes it easier to maintain sites, share the same style sheets between various web pages, and customize web pages to different environments. CSS provides control of all the styles that can be applied to a web page. The specific element of the web page can be changed using CSS. All modern browsers support CSS. Using CSS, a CSS statement or rule consists of a selector block and a declaration block. The following CSS statement will display the largest heading in red color and font size. Selector declaration: property, value, property, value. A CSS style rule is made up of three parts. Selector. The selector block is the HTML tag or element for which we wish to define the style. The declaration block contains multiple declarations, each ending with a semicolon. Each declaration has a property name and its value separated by a colon. The declaration group is enclosed in curly braces. Property. A property is a type of attribute of an HTML tag. All HTML attributes are converted into CSS properties. They could be color, border, etc. Value. Values are assigned to properties. For example, the color property can have a value of either red or #FFOOO. Example: H1 curly braces color colon red semicolon text align colon center semicolon curly braces. P curly braces color colon red semicolon text dash align colon center semicolon font / font size colon 18px semicolon curly braces. Explanation. The first statement sets the color of the heading as red and aligns it to the center of the page. The second statement sets the color of the paragraph as red, font size to 18px, and aligns it to the center of the page. You can also put each declaration on a new line to make it more readable. H1 curly braces color colon red semicolon text align center, semicolon, curly braces. You can add comments in CSS by enclosing them in dash, star, slash. Comments are ignored by the browser. They can be used to help the user to document the code. Example: P, curly braces, color, colon, blue, semicolon, text, dash, align, colon, center, semicolon, slash, star. This displays the color of the paragraph text as blue and aligns it at the center of the page, star, hash, curly braces. Types of CSS. A style sheet can be used with HTML pages in 3 different ways: inline style sheet, internal style sheet, external style sheet. Text scoop. In HTML and CSS, the words center and color must be spelled as center and color, respectively, as center and color act as a keyword whose purpose is to predefined in HTML. Inline style sheet. The inline style sheet is used to apply the style to a single HTML element using the style attribute. The style attribute can be used with any HTML tag. The inline style sheet is not an efficient way to style a web page, as the style attribute would have to be used with each and every tag on the web page. Example: output. Internal style sheet. When the style sheet is defined in the head section of the HTML page inside the less than style greater than tag, it is called an internal style sheet. This type is used when a single document needs to be given a unique style. This is a much better way of styling a web page, as all styles are defined inside the style tag once for a document. Example: output. Internal style sheet. To apply the styles defined in an external style sheet, all HTML files of a website can be linked to a single CSS file. Whenever you wish to change the design of all pages of a website uniformly, you need to only make changes in one CSS file and the styles will be reflected across all pages linked to it. Here, an external CSS file is created using a text editor containing the CSS code and saved with the file extension .css. A link is then created to this file on the web page by placing the following code in the less than head greater than section. This style sheet is ideal when the same style has to be applied across many pages. Let us look at an example that uses an external style sheet. Example: output. CSS selectors. CSS selectors allow us to select and manipulate the selected HTML elements in a web page. Selectors are of 3 types, namely the element selector, the ID selector, and the class selector. Element selector. The element selector selects elements based on their names. For example, you can specify the style of all paragraphs in a web page defined with the less than p greater than tag in red and aligned at the center with the help of the following example. Example: output. ID selector. The ID selector uses the ID attribute of an HTML tag to apply the style. Each ID defined in a web page must be unique and preceded by a hash sign. It is used to define the style for a single and unique element. The example given below will apply the defined style to the HTML element with ID equals inverted commas PID 1 inverted commas closed. Example. Output. Class selector. The class selector selects HTML elements by their class names. The class name has to be preceded by a dot. In the following example, all HTML elements with class is equal to inverted commas sent will be center aligned. Example. Output. CSS properties. Following are some basic CSS properties that can be used to modify the text, image, font, border, etc. in a web page. Text scope. An ID can be used to identify only one element. However, a class can be used to identify more than one element. Background properties. CSS background properties are used to define the background styles of an element. Property name, description, value, syntax. Background color. It is used to specify the background color of an element. Color. Transparent, initial, inherit. Background color, color, transparent, initial, inherit. Background image. It is used to specify the image. It is used to specify the image to be used as the backdrop of a web page or a table. By default, the image will be repeated to cover the background of the entire element. URL, none, initial, inherit. Background image, URL, none, initial, inherit. Background repeat. It is used to specify how to repeat an image only horizontally or vertically, or else they will look stretched and not presentable. Repeat, repeat X, repeat Y, no repeat, initial, inherit. Background repeat, repeat, repeat X, repeat Y, no repeat, initial, inherit. Background position. It is used to specify the position of the background image on the screen. Value, X%, Y%, initial. Background position. Value, X%, Y%, initial. For example, body, curly braces, background, image, URL, clock.jpg. Background repeat, no repeat. CSS text properties. CSS text properties are used to define the text color, alignment, decoration, transformation, and indentation styles of an element. Property name, description, value, syntax. Text summary. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. It is used to style HTML pages. Using CSS, you can control the color of the text, the style of fonts, the spacing between paragraphs, how columns are sized and laid out, and more. A CSS style rule is made up of 3 parts: selector, property, and value. A style sheet can be used with HTML pages in 3 different ways: inline style sheet, internal style sheet, and external style sheet. The inline style sheet is used to apply the style to a single HTML element using the style attribute. To apply the styles defined in an external style sheet, all HTML files of a website can be linked to a single CSS file. CSS selectors allow us to select and manipulate the selected HTML elements in a web page. Selectors are of three types, namely the element selector, the ID selector, and the class selector. CSS background properties are used to define the background styles of an element. CSS text properties are used to define the text color, alignment, decoration, transformation, and indentation styles of an element. CSS font properties are used to define the font, family, style, and weight of an element.